Of course, when we start worrying about Arsenal, they give us no reason to worry at all. Absolutely breezing past Fulham, 3-0, should have been like 6-0. What a performance, absolute composure. Manchester City struggling to get a win, and Arsenal instead coming back with padding up that goal difference. We really should have scored more goals, right? That was a fantastic performance today.
Knock on wood, knock on wood. Before I say anything, knock on wood. That I thought Fulham would be a roadblock. Again, it's one of those banana peel games where Fulham have had a season that they will not forget for a while. So I did not expect this to be an easy first half. Instead, the first half turned to be easier than the second, if I'm being very honest. Three goals in the first half, just blitzkrieg football. And Fulham are not a side that does have a super deep block. Although the first 10 minutes were zero highlight reels, but
No, but
Fulham
yeah.
are a side that don't do a super deep block, and
You're right. I
that
think
just
they
opened up.
they played really well in that sense where the first 10 minutes is where the match actually felt competitive, and like a portion of the second half where we kind of backed off. But that's where you could really see that, it's almost that hybrid press that Fulham have where they kind of almost man mark and try to create pressure so you play the ball
Right.
long. And we struggled with that in the first opening few minutes because we weren't able to get that out ball. And I think as they just played against that block more, the players just learned how to break it, and then that's how we just kept creating chances. And then Fulham just never adapted to the fact that we had adapted to the way they were pressing through the game. And that's how we created those absolutely fantastic goals. And speaking of creating those absolutely fantastic goals, let us talk about the man of the moment, Leandro Trossard. Man, he should have had another assist with that atrocious Xhaka miss. And he should have probably had a goal of his own as well, like missed by that
100%.
margin.
100%.
And he probably should have had a fifth assist as well, because I think he laid off another opportunity later on in
I
the game.
think,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Uh,
I don't remember
he's,
who it was, but I feel like there was one in there. But that
yeah.
was just a complete performance, right, from him. And even in defense, composed, dropped back, took the pressure off completely whenever he was on the ball in our own half as well. Wow, what a signing, man. And if everything falls into place, I think we only pay about like 33 million for him.
Still
Can't
all
can't
right.
really complain. Oh yeah,
Still,
can't really complain at
no
all.
problems, no problems. And I was talking about this with someone else. In the age that we've signed in, if we get 2.5 good seasons out of Trossard, it is still a very big value deal. Numbers being numbers, and as crazy as they've been, I don't think you can start justifying every single price point nowadays. But
Hmm.
this has to be a bargain if it continues to go that way. I'm not saying it's a banger signing because I don't want to preempt
Yeah.
anything. So I'm just saying it could be a very good bargain signing if things go well.
And it really can, because his playstyle is not really dependent on pace. It's more about ball
True.
control, dribbling, passing. These are attributes that should either get better or at least pretty much stay the same even as you grow older, right? But that brings us to the big problem now, because Jesus saw minutes today. He looked absolutely fantastic. Probably should have had another goal
Should have had a
himself
goal.
as well. But with Martinelli fit, Saka fit, Jesus fit as well, this puts Arteta in that tricky position where it's like, does he bench Trossard now, or does Trossard has Trossard earned himself a starting spot? And if he has, then who goes on the bench in that case?
I think the big question is how does Trossard work with Jesus if because Trossard doesn't really have to play as a number nine. He can play out wide, and that might give some rest to Martinelli, or maybe even Saka could get some rest in a Premier League game where he doesn't really have to start every game, especially considering that if you're challenging for Europe and depending on how our next fixture on Thursday goes, we will still have Europe for a considerable time. So this actually gives us a good headache where we can decide who we play in Europa versus who we play in the league, and maybe adjust minutes for that matter. And I don't think Jesus starts the next game against Palace. I
Mhm.
think that's too early to be starting a whole game, especially with Palace also in a situation that they're in. I don't want any player to want to have that big potential risk of playing through an entire 90
Mhm.
coming after injury. So the Jesus question straight away redirects to April, and you don't know what's happening then. So it's more than 15 days away. So let's think about it when that comes to town. But it is a good thing to have. It is a good selection problem to have.
Yeah, and then the other thing that this result, I think towards the end, the only thing that I was kind of a little disappointed with was we weren't able to finish those extra chances because our goal difference has really shrunk. I think we are just at a goal difference of 5 now away from Manchester City. And I don't know if it's going to be as important because the commentators throw out a very simple stat is like 36 points on the table. Arsenal need to win 32. As long as they get 32 on the board, there is nothing Manchester City can do. And of course now it's 29 points that we need now, and I think like it's weird how you can keep looking at the same goal in different ways as you know, depending on where you are at the season.
Right.
So that's a great way to look at it as well, is that we're just 29 points away. So everybody is kind of talking about this 5 point cushion. 5 point cushion is like, we really don't need to think about that quite as much as opposed to this new points goal, that if we hit that, we guarantee ourselves a Premier League title, man.
I'd say just let's round it off and say we need 30 points. I mean, we need 10 more wins.
Out of
Basically,
11
we need
games.
10
Yep.
more wins.
Yep.
So that's the equation. Kudos to Ramsdale, another clean sheet comes up.
Barely kudos. He was.
Yeah. Again, uh, good job by Gabby, Big Gabby and Saliba to like keep the house clean, mop up some loose balls, mop up some mistakes. Yeah, we've had brain fart moments. Aaron's having those a little more too often than I'd like. But for this game, I think that was the only cause of heartburn for me. Otherwise, we've had far too worse. But I'll take this over everything else. I'll take this result over last week, 200%. 12 clean sheets. Okay, so we've had 12 clean sheets, tied with Nick Pope on 12. We have all the possibility to make sure that we cross that number. And also, Martin Odegaard joins the double-digit scorers
Yep.
list with 10 goals to his name in the Premier League.
There's 3
Something
players
that
now with
nobody
10 goals.
expected.
Yeah,
Yes.
and with Jesus on 7 and coming back from injury, if he bags another 3, that's 4 Arsenal players contributing 10 plus goals in a season, which is remarkable. Which again shows how Arteta has built this team to get goals from every department. I mean, again, Saliba scoring in Europe, Gabriel scoring today. So we're getting goals from defenders as well. Xhaka probably should have had a goal today as well. Trossard should have had a goal. So it's incredible how he has built the team to where literally every person on the pitch can contribute to a goal. So there is no question of, oh yeah, you take this player out of the game and you can control Arsenal's attack, which is just
Not really the
Yeah.
thing right now.
but
I
yeah,
think it's
sorry, go ahead.
sorry to interrupt. I think it's a great way to see the difference where we were completely dependent on Aubameyang to score those goals. Now we've spread it across 3, 4, 5 players, and if that is not counted as progress, I need to know what the definition of progress is. Very honestly.
Definitely progress, incredible progress as well. Fantastic result today. 2 more games before the international break, the Europa League. We might talk about that a little bit as well. But yeah, let us know what you thought about this result and whether Trossard has earned his place in the starting 11 now moving forwards. And as always, please like, share, subscribe. See you guys next time.